What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Existential Stoic Podcast. This is our 100th episode, and it's a quick fix.
Woo!
Woo! Finally made it to 100. So this quick fix 44, we're going to talk about finding your strengths. We're going to give you some tips to help you do that. I'm Danny. I'm here with my buddy Randy. What's up, Randy?
Hey, Danny.
So, why should people want to find their strengths? It seems obvious, I think, but
Because we should all be big, strong men. Get our pump on.
it is nice being strong, isn't it?
Well, yeah, right. It allows you to do more with what you got. Like we can all spend our time trying to fix our weaknesses or stuff that we're mediocre at, but really, like when you find your strengths, that's where you can really, really succeed. And pretty much all the people who were ever successes were successes because they were working in their strengths.
Yeah, it's funny. I think people underestimate how fast you can get things done when you're working in an area that you're strong in. And it actually frees up so much time for other stuff, which actually makes life better in general. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's give them some tips to do this. I'm going to go
All right.
first. Yeah. All right. My first one's we've talked about this before, but exploration and exploitation. So exploring new things and using that to exploit the skills that you learn as you go forward and leverage them. As you explore and experiment, you'll also figure out, essentially what you're good at, what works for you, what you like doing, and you can use that then to, ideally form a path that works towards your strengths or with your strengths.
So how does the explore exploit thing work for someone who's new to something or someone who's experienced in it?
So if you're new to something, I think it's all about trying new things and figuring out, what skills you need, what skills you need to develop, and then trying to develop them. I think if your experience is about pushing yourself to continue to learn, it's really all about learning and developing new skills, new tools that you can then apply to other problems and other things in life. Because I think it's thinking about life too as all connected. That it's not just that I use these skills at work, but I can use them in life. I can use them here, there, whatever. It's like time management. If you're really good at time management, you always talk about it as a fetish, right? You don't just apply it to work. You apply it to your everyday life, right? You apply it to your routine in the morning.
In the bedroom and everything.
Yeah. 10 minutes. That's it.
All right. Yep. Yeah, but it makes good sense. Like the explore exploit. Like if you don't know what your strengths are yet, you obviously haven't explored enough yet. But if you know what they are, then you can exploit them. Yeah. Good
Absolutely.
stuff. So my first one for finding your strengths is know your weaknesses. I think this is a big problem that a lot of people have where they try and like work so hard on their weaknesses. And while like, yes, you could probably turn a weakness into like an average or maybe a little bit better than average, you're kind of wasting your time and energy because really, if you focus that much time and energy on your strengths, you'll be unstoppable. But most people are like trying to get it's like No Child Left Behind. I don't even need to give you a better example than that. Like, look at what we've done to the American education system.
God.
With No Child Left Behind. And so, if you focus all your time and energy on trying to get your weaknesses up to par, you're just wasting your energy. Like, instead, put that into your strengths.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too. I think people do that because it's easy a lot of times, because usually getting your weaknesses up to par, it's like easier to work on a lot of these little things rather than becoming an expert in one area or becoming really good in one area. But the other side too is I think it also takes honesty, right? You have to be honest with yourself and say, this is not something I'm good at. And we also are not good at that because of that fear of failure.
Yeah, and like when you're focusing on your strengths, you don't get to go to the next shiny object. Like you have to deal with boredom. We discussed that earlier, how like a lot of Olympic athletes, the one thing they have in common is they're very good at handling boredom. And it's because when you're focusing on your strengths, it gets old. You do the same thing over and over again, but you get to be really, really good at it and make a difference in the world.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. All right, that's good. My next one too, I think goes with this is don't stress about passions or expectations. I think these are two things where we kind of screw ourselves when we're talking about strengths, because we're looking for our passion. We're expecting this like wonderful, magical thing that all of a sudden everything's going to be fine. We're going to be great. And I think
Ecstasy,
it's a total
100% of the time.
Yeah. I think it's a total misconception and it really throws us off course. And then worrying about other people's expectations too, I think that also causes us to not really think about what we're good at or what our strengths are, but rather we're thinking about how can we please others. And those are two mechanisms that really, I think, derail us from understanding ourselves better and understanding our strengths.
Yeah, totally. Like nobody even talked about both what colors your shoot in the 70s. Like, and so yeah, people have just gotten derailed by that, and also from experience trying to fulfill other people's expectations. It's yeah,
doesn't
so,
work.
yeah. So my next one for finding your strengths is to search for your gift. And this is something that's defined as what you do better than anyone else with the least amount of effort. So like you're looking for these things that you do on a regular basis that like other people are like, wow, how are you so good at that? And you're like, it's because it's nothing, like it's just easy for you. And that really is your strength. That gives you a hint in what areas to go explore a little bit more so that maybe you can find what your strength is and you can work on it.
It's funny too. I think people don't realize that can be anything too. Because, I remember I have a good example where it was a long time ago, but I went to a car dealership to look at cars, and it was two different salesmen. And one you could tell was just naturally good at talking to anybody. Like that was his gift. It wasn't necessarily sales. He was just good at talking to everybody. And it's like you naturally wanted to talk to this person. And so they were then gifted at selling things. And it's like they found their niche in the world because they just had this ability. It wasn't something they had to put a lot of effort into. They just were good at it. And I think finding that about ourselves is like one of the most powerful things we can do.
And this goes along with your last one, like not trying to get people's approval, because like your gift may be playing video games and your parents say, get a real job. You should be a doctor. But your gift may be playing video games. And like nowadays you can make millions of dollars playing video games. So like, you really have to discover what it is for you, because it's not your parents. It's literally not your parents or your family or your friends or anything. It's you.
Yeah, it's funny. You just made me think of, I'm going to change my last one too, because I just thought something different. So after you said that, I think, another good one is courage. You need the courage to actually pursue your strengths. I think that is also, you made a great point there, where like, if you're really good at video games, you can actually find ways to leverage that and make money doing it, but you need the courage to actually take a shot and to take a chance on yourself. So I think that is an important aspect of finding your strengths, is a willingness to take a risk on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great thing. Like case in point, there's this girl that I used to work with, and her son is like phenomenal at video games, like top tier. And I was like, you gotta just get him to start streaming. Like he's gonna make a killing. And she's like, no, not until he finishes high school and goes and gets his college degree. Then he can do whatever he wants. And I was like, you are literally wasting his gift right now to get some dumb piece of paper that's going to be worthless. And then by the time he can actually go and pursue this gift, it's going to be too late.
Not to mention too, that's like his prime years. When you're younger and you have the what is it, the motor skills and all, and the speed. And it's like you could make the money to pay for college later if you wanted to, instead of going right now. It's like, such a shame.
Yeah. So that brings me to my last one, which is like a hint for finding your strength, is that it's closer than you think. Most of the time it's under your nose. Like you don't even realize it's a gift because it is so easy and natural for you. Like you think it's this easy and natural for everybody, but it's not.
Yeah.
You were gifted in that it's so easy and so natural for you that you think it should be that easy for everybody else, but it's not. And so it's literally under your nose. Like you're sitting on top of it. You literally have to look like underneath yourself and be like, where is it? Because it's right here underneath my nose, right in front of my eyes. I'm just not seeing it.
What I like about that too? It's like those things that we find ourselves doing all the time that we don't even recognize, that we just do because we enjoy it. We do it because we're good at it, whether it's video games, writing, whatever it is, talking, telling stories, whatever you're doing. I think it's like that kind of stuff is usually a great indicator of what our strengths are. And we often miss it because you're right. It's something that's so in our face all the time that we don't even realize that we think it's natural or normal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, right? Everybody should be able to find their strengths now. That's it. That was our quick fix, a short little episode. Come back, check us out later for the full length. We will be, you can watch it on YouTube. You can listen on any of the podcast apps, subscribe, with notifications, do all that. It helps us a lot. Yeah.
And one more handy hint just at the end.
Yeah.
Ask everybody who's close to you what they think your gift is. And if you start to see a trend, that's definitely your gift. Pursue that.
That's a good idea too, right? Kind of crowdsource to get an idea of what your gift is and what your strength is. Nice.
Yeah, because you can see it in other people a lot easier than you can see it in yourself.
Dude, it's true of like everything. It is a lot easier to see it from the outside. That's awesome. That's a good place to end. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back later for the full length episode. Until then, though, later, man.
Episode 100. Woo!
Woo!
All right.